The stone that the builders rejected has become the cornerstone. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, Father.
The more I live here in Richmond with all of you, Sacred Heart, and also with other towns, the more I learn how to become Catholic, really a true Catholic. And you have shown me clearly what it means to be Catholics during this weekend, especially as we all together, we gather together to celebrate the solemnity of Corpus Christi. Really, that happened. And one of the things about Catholics is we are a very strange group of people because we come from different nationalities, nations, people, languages, and somehow, almost like at the first sight, we fall in love. And we know right away we can smell each other, we can smell, you're Catholic. I tell you a story, okay? I am indebted to the Filipinos. You know why? Because a lot of us, the refugees, the boat people, many millions of people died in the sea after the fall of Saigon, 1975, millions. But then whenever the Catholics, the Vietnamese Catholics, when we escaped from Vietnam and we reached the shore, the Philippines shore, and we get off the boat, we kiss the land, and we do the sign of the cross. Suddenly, the villagers, Filipinos, they came out, oh, you're Catholics, they adopted us, they took us. We're so indebted. You know, that sign of the cross. Suddenly, you are my family. And you see 42 nations gathered together during this Eucharistic procession, not just Sacred Heart parishioners, but from all over. St. Lawrence, and Sugarland, St. Teresa, and Holy Rosary, and John Fisher, and Guadalupe, everybody, we're Catholics. And we don't see the distinction anymore, just we are Catholic. Jesus gave us the first name, as I said this before, our first name is Christian, and our surname is Catholic. And we saw it, really, it happens, it's here. And the more we read the gospel, the more we see what it means to be Catholic. And Jesus is teaching us, once again, the meaning of being Catholic. Well, what does it mean? Well, Catholics mean we are of the one family. Yesterday I mentioned about people saying that I am very spiritual but not religious. You heard about that, huh? And I heard this during one of the funeral service. And I think this lady, she used to be Catholic, and she is still Catholic, but she said, she looked at me and said, I'm very spiritual but not religious like you, Father. So what does that mean? And now I belong to a non-denominational church. What does that mean? The concept of denomination and even calling Catholic, the Catholic Church as a denomination is wrong. Do you know why it's wrong? We are not a denomination. You look at the word denomination and analyze that word. What does it mean? D means separation or way. Nomination, the name. Nomine means we are separated from the name. What name is it? Catholics. During that time when Martin Luther, he was a priest like me. And he was unhappy. He was in Rome. I went to the place where he taught. He was a professor in biblical theology, and he was in Rome. He was really not satisfied with the situation in the church. So he did something. He went back to his country. He did something, and suddenly became a denomination instead of calling, ourselves Catholics together. But now I'm Lutheran. And then from there, we are away, separated from the name. What does that mean? Catholic. So what does it mean to be Catholic? And what is denomination? And we have too many denominations, and we love all. Well, Christians, brothers and sisters, we have the first name, but what about the last name or the surname? Catholics. Okay? Well, what does it mean? The more you see separation, the more denomination you have, and then suddenly you see, okay, we are sick and tired. Too many denominations, we just create this non-denominational church. The majority of those are Catholics in there. The majority are our Catholic college children. What's going on there? Well, first of all, we think that the church is something or some institution. No. The church is not something, but somebody, someone. Of course, how can we be somebody without the body? The body is here, Jesus Christ. We celebrate during this weekend the precious blood, the sacred body of Jesus Christ. We share in this same body. The mystical body of Jesus Christ is the church. Ecclesia, the assembly, the gathering. We gather together because we are share the same body. From that, from that word we get the blood, and the blood comes from the heart, the sacred heart of Jesus Christ. Right there. And that's why we call ourselves Catholics. We are one body. I mentioned this before. And suppose you are a father and mother, have your children, and suddenly one day they say, okay, I'm going to get married and I will change my name. Okay? I will change my name. I will use another. I have seen this. Children are doing this. We just change our surname. No longer I will take my last name. Long tradition, 9 generation. We have this generation from Europe or from Asia, the same last name. Suddenly, somehow, I say, oh, we do not want to use the last name, the surname anymore. We change it. So no longer the same body, is no longer the same family. The church is a family because we belong to one body, the mystical body of Jesus Christ. We call the assembly, the ecclesia, the church. It comes from that. And we return to the heart of our life, Jesus Christ. From there we learn. We learn to reflect, to examine ourselves and to reflect on ourselves and learn how to be Catholics, how to be really brothers and sisters. And we return to the gospel and we look at what Jesus does today. Well, he used parables. And people keep separating themselves from God. Okay, you have the God, the Father, but they do not acknowledge. And until Jesus came, well, when we read Jesus, when we watch what he does, okay, we'll see this. He always teaches us about God, and then about himself, and then about us. 3 ways. First, about God. God is so generous. He have this vineyard, Israelites, okay, Israel vineyard. He gives this, he's generous, and he gives all the tools and all the servants, everything, and he gives it to these tenants. Very generous God. Second, he's a very trusting God. He entrusted everything into the hands of these people. And also the third one about God is, he is so patient, very patient. He waited. Imagine that you read the parables again and again. He sent the first servant, and then the second servant, and then the third one, and many others, and in the end, lastly, he sent his only son. So patient. That is our God, and this is how Jesus sees God as a Father, our Father. This is the God of Jesus Christ, the God that we worship, the God we call Father. Very, very generous, very trusting and patient. But he is a just God also. He gives us chances to return. But somehow in the mind, in our head, we keep seeking or want to possess power. And this is what happened during the time of Jesus. These people, the scribes, the chief priests, and the elders, they do that. In the mind is always about, I have the power, I can beat people, I can kill people. Beating and killing and shaming them. This is the situation of the day. And so what Jesus came, what did he do? He is the truth, so he exposed us to the truth. He brings us back to the reality that this world does not belong to us. God is in charge. God is in charge. What about Jesus? Jesus knows, he knows in himself he is the Son of God, and he says it in parable, the Son. And he knows, and he tells people, I am the Son of God and I will die. I'm coming to die, to be killed by you. 2 things. The Son of God be killed by humanity, by humankind. 2 things about Jesus. And then the third one, of course, I will be killed, but justice will be served. There will be justice. What kind of justice? I will call it the Eucharistic justice. Eucharistic justice. Jesus is justice for us. Now, whenever somebody comes to us telling us some news, and it may be good news, and maybe for some it is bad news, especially when suppose I come and I say the truth to you, and not just the truth in general, but the truth about yourself. The truth that we are Catholics, okay? We cannot separate ourselves from each other. And we dare to call God the Father. I tell the truth, and some people take it differently and maybe feel insulted, like the scribes and the chief priests and the elders. And then there's a teaching from the spiritual tradition of the church that we have to think again. Why is our heart disturbed? Why do we lose this peace? Why? Oh, there are saints who teaches us and who has taught us about why there's a disturbance in our heart, in our mind, in our life. Well, sometimes when you see people coming to you and telling you the truth about yourself, and you feel so tranquil and serene, and you're not disturbed. Other times, the same person comes to you telling the truth about yourself, and you get so mad. Why is it? So one of the saints, Dorotheus, he said this. Well, there are at least three reasons. First of all, if you are in contemplation or if you are at prayer, you have a prayerful life, you will not be disturbed. Then you will not feel humiliated or insulted. You will be at peace. And you even thank the person. Prayerful life. The second one is because you are in love. You look at the person, oh, this is my family. This is my brother and sister. They love me. That's why they do. And I love them. So the second cause for our peace, peacefulness, is because we love. Prayer and love. And third one, hate. If I hate you, and you come to me and I hate you, and you don't disturb me anymore, you're nothing to me. So that's why I don't feel, disturbed, because you're nothing. The three reasons or causes for our peace. Now, the ultimate one is this for the saint. Simply, it is because we do not find faults in ourselves. We find fault in others. We blame others, but we don't criticize ourselves. We don't take time to examine ourselves. We don't take time to find fault with ourselves. And we don't take time to correct ourselves. Jesus came and he reveals to us, he opens his heart, he allows us to first examine ourselves, find fault with ourselves. The truth of God is still here. The truth is his love here. Find fault with ourselves and not blaming others. We find fault with ourselves, criticize ourselves, but not to push ourselves down, to be honest and truth and then correct. That's what he wants. And we cannot correct ourselves, so he gives us himself, the Eucharistic Lord, here to correct. He corrects for us. He's the remedy. The remedy for us. Now, if we want to have this peace, this is not the peace of the world, but the peace of Jesus Christ. We come to the Eucharistic Lord, bring his word there, and he will teach us. Learn from him. Learn from him. He said this, not from books, like Mother Teresa said, learn from my heart. Learn from my heart, for I am humble and gentle, meek of heart. Amen.